Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. And it's Extratyne tonight. New host, same show. Roger sadly couldn't make it tonight, but we have Laura, as always, and Scott back on Extratyne once again. We will be getting to Scott's match prediction at some point. So we'll get onto that later on. How are you? Everything all right? Start with you, Laura.
Yes, good, thanks, yeah. Stressful week. It's year 2 sats. But yeah, no, they're doing very well. Very proud of my little children. So all
Your
good.
little children.
Yes.
How are you, Scott?
I am all right. I'm feeling a bit better than I have been this week. Not been too well, but hopefully it's behind us now. Ready for the weekend.
Well, it's going to be a busy one tonight. We'll keep it quite short, this one. We won't do a Roger on everybody and go for an hour and a half. We'll keep this one quite short tonight because there's a football match that we'll all want to try and watch. We're not upset before people start saying, but we're interested in the result on this one. So we're going to dive straight in. And first of all, Scott, I want to give you a massive round of applause for the title of this show tonight. So the people that don't realise, Scott, tell them what the title of tonight's recording is.
How to make friends and I can't even say it, and Allan-Iate people.
Amazing, mate. Well done.
Very good.
Well done.
Someone said it to us the other day. It was something else.
Oh, so you stole it?
Well, not that, but about something completely different. The actual how to make friends and alienate people, and it must have been fresh in my mind. And when you said I need a title, I was like, boom! It just come to us. I was like, excellent.
It was great, mate. Absolutely fantastic title. I'm going to dive straight in, and because this has been a talking point over the last 24, 48 hours, Saint-Maximin's comments, which we know a bit about the backstory of it now, but I'm still on the fence with what's been said. So the comments from Saint-Maximin, I've got the one here, and thanks to NUFC_HQ on Twitter, who highlighted this for everyone, because I think they were the first ones to put it out there. So massive shout out to them. They say that in the interview which Saint did with Sore Foot magazine, says, "This will increase my profile in people's minds. My aim is to do things that leave a mark on people's minds and to change the rules in a similar way to what Michael Jordan has managed to do. He has changed people's lives." He's talked about, he was compared to Sadio Mane on that one. But the start of the quotation was, "Those who have played alongside me know that when it comes to quality, I have no need to be jealous of Sadio Mane. The day I get a teammate who is able to convert the chances I create, I will have 10 to 15 successful assists every season." Laura, I'm going to come straight to you because I think me and you have probably a similar opinion on Saint, where we're not against Saint and the performances that he's putting in. We know he can do better at times. Okay. What was your initial thoughts when you saw those go on Twitter?
My initial thoughts were, what an idiot, like, what you're saying that for? Like, you know, people are very much torn. He's got to live, like, I don't know if he is very vocal on Twitter. He's got to have seen lots of comments, and he knows how split the fan base is at the moment because of his performances. He has to know that he's not at his best. So when I first seen them, I thought, how silly of you. Like, what a stupid thing to do when we've got such a united team, and everything about the team at the minute is togetherness and friendliness, and everybody is like pulling in the same direction. And then he comes out and says that. However, when you listen to other people's opinions and you see the press are always going to be out to drop him in it, you don't know the actual, it doesn't show you the questions that they asked, I don't think, does it? Like, and so it could have been taken out of context, and I think it was probably a bit lost in translation, because all big successful sports people, athletes, like you said, Michael Jordan, have got an ego, that are very arrogant, and you have to be at the very best. However, I don't think he's quite there yet to be spouting out these type of comments. So I think I've slightly changed in the sense that I think, he was probably just a bit silly. Whereas at first I was absolutely livid, and I was like, what an idiot, he's not helping himself at all. So I'm kind of like very much on the fence. I know that's not great, but I see both sides. I see where people are saying, "Oh, he didn't mean it, man." Like, it's the truth. His teammates aren't as good as he should be, and we all actually are. Well, I know in our group chat we're on about keeping him and saying, would you keep him? And a few of us said, yeah, I'd like to see him with better players and see if he ups his game. So I'm very much on the fence. I see how silly he was, but I also think it could have been taken out of context and he probably didn't mean it as it came across.
Okay. Scott, what's your thoughts on it, on the whole situation?
I'm very of the opinion that I do believe maybe it was taken out of context and it's a translation thing. But I also think what he said today in his tweet when he was on about, oh, this is actually what I really meant, it still isn't the best.
Very similar.
It's very, very similar, just worded differently. I think we've seen it with Saint-Maximin in the past, though, when he's had other interviews where he's maybe said stuff he shouldn't be saying. Like, I think the other week he was saying, oh, we're the richest club in the world and that. And I know the press all say that, but I don't know how happy the club are for the players to come out and be saying that about the club. So I think he just maybe needs a bit more press training to mind what he's saying. And, you know, if he does believe that, then, you know, fair enough. That's absolutely fine. You know, he mentions Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was notorious for being ruthless to teammates. You know, if they weren't pulling their weight, he wasn't playing with them. They weren't in the team. You know, and Saint-Maximin is nowhere near the level of a Michael Jordan when it comes to, you know, comparing apples to apples. But if he wants to get to that point, he has to kind of prove it on the pitch now, because I think, bar the Norwich game, he hasn't really been performing that well of recent time. You could even argue the Norwich game, he wasn't fantastic. He was good, but he wasn't, you know, to that level. It'll be interesting to see the interview because I don't think it's been released yet. I certainly haven't seen it anywhere, so I don't know where they've got these snippets from. I don't know if the website.
They've been very clever about what snippets they've used as well, and it went like you say. But you mentioned there about Michael Jordan kicking off with teammates if they didn't pull their weight. Maximum is the one not pulling his weight at the moment. He's the one not performing at his very high standard that we know he has, which is why, for me, the fans, certainly around where I sit, we're all very much in the same opinion as he's one of the most frustrating players at the minute, because we know his potential. We're not, like you said earlier, Chris, we're not denying his capability or his ability or anything like that. We know what he can do, and he's not doing it at the minute, hence why we're so frustrated. So it's not the right time to be saying that. If it was when he was banging in assists and scoring goals, blah, 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 and he came out and said all those arrogant things, fair enough, yeah, backing it up, but at the minute he's not.
I think it's a great shout as well, because you've seen that team spirit which Eddie Howe has brought to the football club. That wasn't there before Eddie Howe. It really wasn't. And we're not blessed with the greatest footballers currently at Newcastle, and the likes of players that are playing out the skin, like Emil Kraft. I know it's in defence, but if you look at the likes of Chris Wood, if I'm Chris Wood reading what Saint has said there, and even the aftermath where Saint came out and said, well, they will get better players and they will get more assists, I'm not happy if I'm Chris Wood. I'm really not. And what we've seen today, that it was this morning that Eddie Howe would be having a discussion with the players along with Saint-Maximin. Saint went to Eddie Howe's office to basically explain what had happened in the interview. But he's gone on Twitter afterwards, and like Scott said, it's a very similar quote which he's came out with. And I know that the players that are there at the minute, they'll probably just get on with it. They really will. I don't think there'll be any uproar, because the position that we'll find ourselves in a minute, where everything's great on Tyneside at the minute. If you look a handful of months back and Saint comes out with these comments, it's going to go down a complete opposite way. So I think Saint's very lucky that we'll find ourselves in this position right now, and that's when this interview is being published. But yeah, I'm not sure what everybody's thoughts are that are listening. There's a few comments, and one which jumped straight out, and it's perfect as well. It's from Dan Witten that says, I'm reminded of Sissoko every time he'd go off in internationals, we'd get another French interview. And Sissoko was renowned for basically saying that he wanted to play Champions League football, which he got in the end. Of course he got with Spurs. But he always came across quite arrogant, Musa, the one who wasn't pulling his weight but thought he was a bit better than everybody else. I'm not sure if it is the French press which do twist things for the likes of the international players. I don't know. but it just hasn't sat right with me, and it still doesn't sit right with us. I'm very much the same as Laura. I'm firmly on the fence with what happens next. We're seeing. I'll come to you, Scott.
It'll be interesting to see the reception he gets to when we play Arsenal, our next home game. It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
I think it'll be fine, Laura. I think as a fan base, it'll be fine. I think we'll back the lads on the fields currently, and I think come the start of next season, that's when it'll be telling what happens with Saint-Maximin. I think, and I mentioned this in our WhatsApp group earlier, if Saint doesn't start the season well, you wouldn't be shocked if there was a replacement brought in the next January transfer window. It's make or break, and I've said this a couple of times, it's make or break for Saint next season. And it's frustrating because he was the main man not so long ago, and now he's dropping down on the pecking order. You've got the likes of Joe Linton, so I took Bruno's overtook, and Trippier comes in, he's getting the limelight. I'm not sure if Saint's the type of person that likes that.
No. He likes to be the main man. I've mentioned it before, and he was the main man under the previous manager, whereas Howe's a completely different personality, and he manages people completely different, and he wants a whole team. He doesn't just want the team to revolve around one man, so it's completely different. I don't think Maximum's Howe's type of player, so I think I'm very much in agreement that come January, if he hasn't upped his game, Howe wouldn't think twice. I really don't.
I know that you talk about players, especially French players, hadn't been offered, had this like some arrogance about them. They really do have a bit of arrogance about them, and rightly so at times. It's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, and Saint has a bit of both. He really does. He sways on the scale from side to side. Do you like to see that in a player, Scott?
I do. I think Saint has the confidence because he does have the skill to prove what, to back up what he's doing. It's just consistency is the problem. But I'm very much, you could have all the skill in the world, but if you're not confident, I mean, some players live and die on confidence. If you look at the likes of, Jacob Murphy as a prime example, when he came back from his loan, he was flying because he was confident. He'd had all these games. He was absolutely going. And then 3-4 games later, when it wasn't working for him, you just saw his shoulders drop. You saw him become the player of old before, obviously, what he's turned into now. I think with Saint-Maximin, I totally agree that next season, it's do or die, really. It's make or break. If he doesn't get the ball rolling in terms of assists, even kind of taking players on and getting past players, he's not really doing what Saint-Maximin is famous for being done, because I think at the moment, teams have kind of sussed him out. They kind of know, get 2 or 3 men on him, give him a couple of kicks early on, get him on the ground, get him, waving his arms around like he does, and you'll get in his head straight away, and he'll not play because he almost tries too hard once it doesn't start working for him, and you can see him, and with all the will in the world, he wants it to work what he's doing, but it just doesn't. And I think Howe is probably the best man for him to be with in terms of saying to him, look, if it doesn't work. Next time it will. You don't have to keep trying to it. But yeah, I think next season definitely. I don't know if it'll be January, because I don't know if he doesn't perform. I don't know if many teams would be in for him, especially not for the money that we may be looking for him, and he'll certainly think he's worth. And you got to remember, he's got a 5-year left on his contract, so it's not like we're going to sell him for anything less than what we bought him for. But I don't know. I think either January or next season he could be off if he's not performing. And I think it'll be very telling on who we bring in the summer to what Eddie Howe's plans are for Saint-Maximin. Do you build a team around him? Do you bring someone in who can give him a bit of competition? Because I think that could also do him a bit of good, because at the moment he's like, well, I'm the only one who's going to play on this side. There's no player getting in ahead of me. I'm starting if I'm fit. Bring someone in who's going to challenge him for that. Put him on the bench a little bit. I know Bruce wasn't, afraid to bench Saint-Maximin. Drop him. Might be the best thing for it. We're pretty much safe now. It could be the perfect opportunity to say, right, you're not getting a game.
There's a comment here, and just before we move on from saying, because I don't want this to come across as if we're having digs at saying I really don't, because we're all in agreement. We love Saint up there. We know that he does have bags of talent, but he shouldn't be doing this sort of thing. And no matter if he's being misquoted, and a lot of people in the comments are agreeing that he's being misquoted, I'm not sold on that. I'm really not sold on that. I think it is the arrogance of Saint coming across, and rightly so at times. If he is creating the chances and players aren't scoring goals, fair enough. But I'm not seeing it as much as what that interview portrays. This one from El Grande Salmon Laura says, could he be angling for a big move, reminding people he is worth the money despite his performances being average of late? Do you think he can get a bigger move than Newcastle United right now in regards to the direction we are going in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, when he said that, I don't know if that's just like a bit of an arrogance from me, because I was like, well, who's bigger than Newcastle at the minute? The way we're going, it's a project. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger every year. Most players would be more than happy to be at Newcastle right now. And if it is, for me, all the other clubs who are at the moment bigger than Newcastle, he wouldn't be the star man. And I seen a comment earlier saying he wants to be the star man. He wouldn't be the star man anywhere else, I don't think. So at the moment, he kind of is the star man at the moment. I know there's other people overtaking him, like you said, but he's still a brilliant player at our club.
He's still got plenty of credit with fans, of course he does.
Who could be bigger other than just the name than Newcastle at the moment, the way, like you say, the way we're going.
Mm-hmm. It would also would mess up his NFTs and stuff, wouldn't it, if he started going elsewhere? Because he's in his Newcastle top and his NFT, isn't he? So I mean,
took a massive plummet, Scott. NFTs took a massive plummet apparently in cash value. So I don't understand NFTs, so I'm not even going to get into a conversation because I feel really old. Like when we talk about NFTs, I'm thinking, what is one? I don't even know. It's just a picture to me.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, let's have a conversation about NFTs, Scott, because I think you're the person that might know what they are, right?
I know what it stands for.
Is it a pic? Is it just a picture?
So think of it like owning a piece of artwork, right? So you can obviously everyone goes over like and just copy your picture, right?
I can't just go and take somebody's picture off the wall and go that's mine.
But you can go and see the Mona Lisa, right? And then walk into the gift shop and buy a copy of the Mona Lisa. Doesn't mean you own the Mona Lisa, but the NFT means you would own the Mona Lisa if you put it in that respect. Do you know what I mean?
Just buying a picture.
Not hanging on the wall.
Well, you can if you want to. You could print it off. It's so weird. I don't understand it fully myself, but
the one that I printed off.
But you don't own the rights to it.
But who cares?
Exactly. That's the whole point of it. But the idea is, and it's really the artwork's probably the worst part about it. Say for music, if you own the NFT to your music, then you own, publishing rights and whatever it is, all the royalties that come with that. It's a weird thing. I think the artwork is a very, very small part of NFTs, and it's the first thing to come along. I think if it takes off, it'll be more for stuff like music or for, say a sponsorship on a shirt. You could sponsor the NFT for Newcastle, and you could display your artwork on a Newcastle shirt as an NFT, and all the rights would go. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's.
You've lost us now.
No,
I've
lost myself. I've tried to figure it out, but I think I'm too old. I think that ship sailed for me for NFTs.
Don't get them. Never will get them. Was it something that rich people created to get richer by leading people on?
The technology's been there for years. It's literally just someone had an idea of drawing a picture of an ape and thought I'll sell this, and it's just boom, yeah.
Ridiculous. Right, moving on.
Yes.
Let's talk about what's been showcased today. Newcastle United's training ground is finally not getting just a makeover, but getting some extensions, some wooden extensions, some puts attached across it. We'll have some photos up here. I'll just put them on screen in just a second. So this is what it's going to look like. So obviously you can still see they've got the old building there, and he has obviously the front of the building as well, which you see when Keith Downey's standing outside when he's doing his transfer deadline stuff. It's about time, Scott, isn't it?
It's well overdue. Long gone are the days of wheelie bins and paddling pools out on the lawn. I think it's certainly not the final picture, and I think it is just a stopgap while they build something else somewhere else. And I think,
hoping for
you know,
3 years. In
3
the
years,
next
my
3
dad was saying
years,
the other
we
day, wasn't
should
he?
have
Yeah.
a new one.
So hopefully whatever work they need to do can be done over the summer, ready for pre-season. Because I would hate for it to not be finished and we're going to pre-season where, you know, some of it's a bit of a building site and it disrupts the group and whatever. But
It'll be finished.
if the rumours of us going to America are true for pre-season, then maybe that's why. You know, we go to America for a 6 weeks training and they get all that extension done. But yeah, I mean, you hear horror stories of the training ground. You hear, you know, even pundits were going, well, yeah, you wouldn't go to Newcastle, but you step into that training ground. Would you want to go for that training ground? And you understand that. I don't think a lot of players maybe just do care too much, because all you really need is a bit of grass and a couple of nets and a few balls. But you want the best grass, right? You want the best turf, whatever it is you're going to play on.
Balls.
And I think it's telling that Eddie Howe has done a few training sessions at St. James's, you know, just to get them used to the pitch, and because I think it's a totally different quality of turf that they'll have there to what maybe is what they've got at Benton. But it's been in need of even just a lick of paint.
To be fair, mate, and to give them credit, the Benton pitches are phenomenal. The pitches themselves are Premier League standard. If you're going into a stadium, that's the only good thing about the training ground. And I think it's been documented in the past that the pitches are fantastic. Of course, all the indoor complex, which they've got the big shed that there, that's great. But it's everything else which you don't see behind the scenes, which is obviously the issue. And I'm not name dropping here, but I kind of am. We got invited a few seasons back to go and watch a training session. It was when Rafa was manager. And afterwards, Rafa came over and just talking to everyone, about 6 over there, I would say. And he says, what do you think the issue is trying to sign players? He went, there's 2 reasons. And he looked around and he said, that's one of them. He pointed at the training ground, and it just looks like a massive bungalow. It's shite, let's be honest, it is shite. It looks like a nursing home, to be fair. From certain angles, it looks like a nursing home. And the other thing was players' wives. That was the other reason, because they want to live in London. So those were Rafa's 2 answers. And what I want to mention is what Lee Charney said, Laura. So Lee Charney has previously been quoted saying, in my experience, has a player turned round and said, I'm not signing for Newcastle United because of our training facilities? No. Did it stop us getting promoted out of the Championship? Did it stop us finishing 10th? Did it stop us having a good season this season? This was a couple of years back. That's embarrassing.
It is, yeah. I haven't seen or heard that quote before, and it just shows where their heads were at and their ambitions were before the takeover, and they just weren't interested in improving in any way, shape or form. And as a football club, you want to improve every year. You want everything to be the best it can be. And I agree with Scott. It doesn't, and I kind of agree with Lee in a little bit of way, because it might not have that massive impact on the pitch. However, it's the whole picture you've got to look at. It just is going to be more professional. There's going to be more things to do. I don't know where I got this from a news, but I'm sure I remember somebody saying you want somewhere afterwards to hang around and have. Was it trivia on the trip? Someone said it. You want somewhere.
I can't remember who it was, Laura, but that was one of the big things and the fundamental things, which why we were feeling that training ground, because the players would go and train, then go home, and go home, and it was a massively highlighted, and just. You can continue talking, but just to go through a couple of comments there. Yeah,
I've been like you. I was lucky enough to go with school when Rafa was manager as well for the 1892 tournament or whatever it was, and we went into this room to meet the players and stuff. And you're very right about it being a bungalow. My school is a very old school, and it's just one floor, and it really just felt like I was in a school, like in a primary school, corridors and narrow corridors and a door here, and it's just, and when you look at other teams who aren't necessarily as big as us, like they've got such better facilities, and it is just the bigger picture, and it shows that intent in where they want to go. And I just think it's going to have a positive, it can only have a positive effect.
And what we're seeing from Eddie Howe is he's been quoted God knows how many times saying it's all about team spirit. And going forward, this is what he's portraying. This is his ideal plan going forward. Bring the right players in to create that team spirit. He doesn't want the likes of bad eggs in that group. And it's working right now. It really is. Because I've always said I'm a huge fan of having a shithouse in that starting lineup. And I think Callum Wilson is the ideal example. Joe Linton at the minute, massive shithouse. He seems like a lush bloke, but when you get him on that field, he can be a bit of a dick to the opposition. That's what I want. But off the field, and we're seeing it from Bruno's photos of his kids' gender announcements a while ago. You've got the likes of Saint-Maximin in the background. You've got Joe Linton. You have Federico Fernandez is in there as well. So it's that team spirit. And I think having the likes of an area and that recreational area where players can go afterwards just to piss about, if they're playing on video games, if they're playing table tennis, whatever the hell they do these days, the sort of thing that you get in an international tournament where there's a complex where the team stays and just do whatever the hell they want afterwards. That's what you need, and that's what we've never had, Scott.
No, you're right, and I think, you know, in the kind of the early 90s, mid 90s, when they used to let you into the training ground to watch back when it was over in Durham, the players would socialise outside the training ground to there's next week's title for you.
Smells like Toons Spirit. It's great.
They would socialise, like you'd see them out down the big market, you'd see them, you know, out at the pub, that sort of stuff, and they can't really do that anymore. Although last weekend apparently some of them were. So I think it's important that they have a space, because they don't all live, you know, they're not all living within a mile of the stadium like what some other managers are wanting for next season. No names being mentioned there, and it's weird because you'd always see.
Laura doesn't know what you're doing.
All right, sorry, Laura. I didn't. Yeah.
Is that what he said?
You want all his players to be within an hour of the training ground, but he's not going to move himself.
No, of course not. Why would he?
There mustn't be a chippy next to the training ground.
Must be takeaways.
Must be. You opened up his Uber Eats and there's not there. But I think
we spend about 20 quid.
I think if you look at the floor plans that were shown today, and I don't know where the pictures were, I think Bestie put it in our WhatsApp group of a floor plan. There was a room with like a pool table, and you could clearly see that was a pool or a snooker table. And I think there was a couple of other things, some sofas and a screen, like a screen. So they obviously thought, right, there's nothing here at the minute, or there's probably an old, like the old square TVs that you used to get with a Nintendo plugged into it or something.
Wheel it in.
Let's get it up. Yeah, wheeled it in like at school with a you got to bang on the top of it to get a signal. Let's upgrade it. I mean, if it's anything like the ground, and I've only been at the ground a handful of times in the last 5 years, and even before then, when I was a season ticket holder, like the ground was neglected, and that's in the public eye. So just imagine what that place is like, you know, in terms of like the tiny TVs and the ever shrinking things that were going on all over the place. It's like, you'd like to think that there's been at least some money spent in, but I don't imagine there has been any. And this will be a huge upgrade, and it's only going to help the players, because they're going to walk in that first day when that smell of fresh paint. You know, you'll know it, Laura, when you walk into school after the summer and the paint of the walls, you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready now. I'm ready for a new school year. The players will walk in and they'll just be like, yeah, let's do this. We're ready. And it's just a little mental thing like that will just trigger them, I think, hopefully to spur them on a bit more. And then they'll use it throughout the year, of course. And
let's be honest, the owners could have just thought, we'll just bide with time. We'll build a new training thing. We'll just leave this one how it is at the moment until that one's sorted. They haven't. They want instant change. And we've seen it so far, and we're seeing it now with the training facility. Something that we've been screaming out for God knows how long. We really have. And we spoke to Ryan Taylor on the podcast, and he said, yes, from the outside, the training ground looks horrendous, but the things are there that you need as a professional footballer. But you don't want to be around there after you've gone to training, which is obviously what we just spoke about. You mentioned the stadium in St. James's Park, Scott, and how run down that looks in certain areas, how dated that is. And I'll ask you the question, Laura. What's your main gripe about St. James's Park? What would you change?
Can I say the person next to us?
You can't do. Your dad? I think he's watching.
No, I don't sit next to my dad who's behind us. No, The
So just to
concourse.
give you a heads up, a couple of things we mentioned on the Horseman Facebook podcast.
The concourse
Especially
you said, didn't you?
Concourse is lifting, but you can't really change that much. They tried it once and they painted the floor of the East Stand black, and I felt ill. I felt seasick. It was really weird. Bestie wants black and white nets. That's what he wants. I think we've discussed black and white seats in the ground actually. As well. You're not allowed to have that one. Rory suggested that one.
Well, why are you telling us what I can say?
I'm giving you ideas of other things that you can
I choose that one as well.
You can't choose somebody else's.
Well, how is that going to give us ideas? It's just telling us what they're saying.
Well, you're not allowed them. Right, have a think about it. Scott, what would you change?
I think this has been discussed, but I would change the Newcastle United letters back to what they were, and maybe get a crest on the top of the Gallowgate as well for the middle. That would be my thing. Obviously, hopefully, I'm going to get a season ticket and for next season, and hopefully, I can get one. I have no idea how many are going to be available.
To Laura's suggestion, I think we'll have to applaud you once. I'm applauding you quite a lot tonight, Scott. No, I don't really like it. Scott's dedication, and Scott mentioned he hasn't been to St. James's Park much in the last X amount of years. Scott lives in Amsterdam. That's the reason why. He's actually looking at getting a season ticket for next year where he will be flying over every home game to watch Newcastle.
Every weekend home game. I'll miss the midweek ones because of work, but
So Scott, what's it like to be a Glory owner?
Hey, I've still got my old season ticket.
Have you run this by your partner? Is she okay with this?
Yeah, she's fine with it. So I'm kind of it's in one of the drawers. I don't know what it is. She's happy to get rid of us. My mum will be happy to see us for however many hours it'll be if I'm not in the pub after the game, which probably will be the case. But I'm hoping to. I had me. In fact, this weekend was my last game as a season ticket holder for the championship when we won it. That was my last day in the country. So I'm hoping to rekindle that. But like I said, in terms of the stadium, it depends where I'm going to be sitting because it looks like it might be the Platinum Club. That's where I'm thinking the seats might be more readily available. And I've not been in the Platinum Club before because they're a bit more expensive. That's my train of thought, is that there might be more chance of getting one of the more expensive seats. I could be completely wrong, but we'll see. But yeah, I'd like to see the lettering back to the way it was for Newcastle United and the crest above the.
And the crest. Okay. Laura, have you had some time to think about this?
No. I'm choosing black and white seats, and that's it.
Has my mic just got really better?
Really better? That's awful, Grandma.
I know. Sorry. Much better.
It sounds different.
Does it?
All right. Okay. Somebody commented saying that Chris's mic is shit. Then I realised it was going off the webcam rather than this headset. I've just been waiting for no reason for the last half an hour because it wasn't picking anything up. So, anybody that else has got any suggestions that they want change at St. James's Park, it can be whatever you want, just for the crack. Mine is going to be the catering. Bring local catering in. I want a Greg's stand and I want a Dixon stand. I want a Savoy dip at halftime. That's what I want.
Steve Bruce will be gutted if we put a Greg's in St. James's Park.
Imagine him.
Absolutely.
Where's a gaffer? He's just in the queue in the concourse.
If you're on the back with a hairnet on, man.
Yeah, saying that, I don't eat or drink in the stadium. I don't even get a drink at half time purely because I look at the queue and I think, nah. So if I would maybe say a bigger bar on my concourse, and then maybe I would get a drink.
Do they still do the bottle bins?
They do. So now and again,
make them contactless. Because I remember when I used to go, they were like, it's cash only. It's like, you've got Apple Pay splattered all over the other parts saying, oh, you can pay really quick. And then these fast things are cash. That was pointless.
What else I want to mention is have programs available to buy in the concourse. I don't I don't have cash on us. I can't pay cash for a program outside the stadium. Make those contactless or put them behind the bar as well. Then you can buy them there.
That's a good one.
Or put a monthly subscription in place where on top of your season ticket, it's X amount of pounds and you get the program sent to your house a couple of days later.
But some people like to look at it
Is
on
it
the
bar
day,
1892
You
where
can still buy
get
them.
you can get them as you walk in? They're like that.
If
You get it
Platinum
included with
Club,
bar
mate,
1892 or
if
something.
you
Oh,
get
the
your
Platinum
season ticket in the
Club.
Platinum Club, you'll
Oh,
get a.
Scott's gonna have loads.
I think you get a pin badge, and you also get
Oh,
that as well. Might be
oh.
completely wrong. But some of the shouts, halftime hero should return. What was that?
Where they brought on like an ex-Newcastle player, wasn't it? On the
Do they
pitch at
still
half
do
time.
lottery? Do they still do the
I
draw
can't
where you
remember
used to pick
hearing
out
that.
You used to pick a seat number, didn't they?
you used to pick a seat number, yeah.
Aye.
Mhm.
And there used to be a thing just out just down from the box office where there was like a lottery thing we used to go in there and register in that bit.
I like to
some
say
more
meat
shouts.
draw. Let's go a bit a bit old school.
He plays for Fulham, mate.
Aye,
See what I did there? See what I did?
I did.
Right,
I
so
did.
Dan says Greg's in the stadium, so he's going with my suggestion. Tom Lynch says get rid of Colin. Work with local breweries such as Wild and Brinkburn Street. That's a great shout. I think we should be looking at local things to bring into the stadium as well. Michael says, you young ones, the trough to pay in the Gallowgate end, the state of the Leeds end when they ran out of money to rebuild it. Those are my first memories of going to a football match. And Tom Lynch also says, could do with a big screen being bigger and another one on the Milburn. Catering could be better. I think the problem with the screens, it takes up space. That's the problem.
There's nowhere else.
It's glass as well on the Milburn, is on that side. It's a full glass thing as well. And I don't see the point in the big screen, if I'm being honest with you. I really don't understand them.
Well, we cannot say them anyway, can we? So
Exactly. Right. Speaking about the training ground and extensions, there was another extension. Paul Dummett has extended his contract at Newcastle United. Laura, people didn't see you doing a little dance there when that went on the screen. Why are you so happy about Paul Dummett getting a new contract? Well, not a new contract. Is it a year or 2 years that it's been?
yeah, isn't
It's a
it?
year.
It's one single year, isn't it?
Aye, 1
Yeah.
year.
So Fabian got 2, Paul Dummett got 1. Why is this such an important extension to you, Laura?
No, I am in jest, to be fair, because obviously it came as a shock. Like people have, all I've seen is negative. I haven't seen very many positives about it, to be honest. Just on Twitter, and people are saying, "What's the point? He hasn't
That's Twitter
played
for you,
very
Laura.
much." I know, and like I do get where they're coming from. Essentially, like about like his injury. Is he fit enough? Is he gonna? But I see also why the club have done it, and I've seen Howe's comments about him be like his first comment was he's Newcastle through and through, and to me that is the reason that they've kept him, just because to keep a local lad in the team for that team spirit, and to just say it out, just give it him another year. I don't see the problem with it, if I'm totally honest, and I don't know why people are getting their back up about it. I think he's very solid to have as a backup. He's a solid defender. I know he's not the best, and I know he's not first choice, and he's not going to play every game, but he's a decent backup to have.
Scott, what's your opinions on it?
I was surprised. You know,
So
I don't think he doesn't deserve it. I think absolutely, you know, give him an extra year, give him his 10-year, you get his testimonial, and you know he's been an absolute fantastic servant of the club, and he is Newcastle through and through. But it wouldn't have been top of any agenda that I would have had if it was kind of, you know, what needs doing for these players and who do you need to bring in. It'll be interesting to see if he gets a squad place, and if he's more just being if the contract's been there for the dressing room side of things, and to play almost like what Kieran Trippier has been doing while he's been injured and bring it in. Because let's be honest, if Paul Dummett picks up another injury, that's his career over. Like, I mean, it almost is now. And if he gets even the smallest of things, I don't think he's going to come back at all. So I don't know if he'll get a squad place.
I think what you've said, I didn't even think of that. I think that's exactly probably why they've done it.
I mean, I'd like to think these owners
you've
are
got to remember
quite...
it'll be a pretty cheap wage that Paul Dummett will be on compared to the players from here on in.
Oh yeah, in comparison, it would be. You know, I'm happy for him, and I think, like I said, he does deserve it. But it'll be interesting to see how he features. You know, and it'll be telling if he gets any time, any sort of like game time towards the end of this season, because he is fit now, right? He's not injured anymore, I don't think. Even just bench, like if he's named on the bench or anything in the next games that are coming up, the next 3 games,
Do
it
you
would be
think?
interesting.
I'll come to you, Laura. Do you think one of the things and one of the fundamental things, the reason behind that is because Eddie Howe and the owners, to be fair, don't want to break this unity that they currently have with the likes of the local lads being involved as well. So you've got Paul Dummett there, you've got the Longstaff brothers. God knows what's going to happen with them. Jacob Murphy, to be fair, as well. I know obviously he moved elsewhere, but Newcastle United fan at the end of the day. So you've got a handful of there. Do you think that's one of the key things, that he doesn't want to change too much too soon?
Yeah, and I think what's his quote that he says, it's a evolution, not a revolution, and I think it's very key in making small changes, small improvements, small extensions, ready to just keep rebuilding each year. You can't just go in and just change everything all at once, because it won't work. It, like you say, it won't. That team unity that's been built, and Eddie Howe and the players have done so well to get this season. Well, second half of the season, sorry. It'll just ruin everything. And I think they haven't, as much as that the richest club in the world, that I don't think they're as ruthless as I thought they would be. So maybe they are being very coy and very clever about the things that they're changing, and it's very just like little things that they're changing rather than just go all out and change everything, because like you say, that just wouldn't work.
I think the thing which worried me before, to be fair, Scott, your point is probably sealed it, to be fair, the fact that you don't even know if Paul Dummett will get a squad number depending on what happens in the summer. But my major concern with Paul Dummett was the injury record, and I'm sat here and I'm sat on Monday night talking about Callum Wilson, if Callum Wilson should be a part of next season because of his injury record. So how can I sit here and say yes, Paul Dummett deserves that when he hasn't featured, when in the same instance I'm saying if Callum Wilson's not fit enough to be on the field, we should be replacing him. Do you feel as if this is the end of Jamal Lewis, Scott?
I think Jamal Lewis is young enough to maybe go out on loan. He's still of that age where, we could loan him out, bring him back, maybe the next season. But I mean, if we sign Matty
he's had
Targett,
a couple of surgeries, which I think a lot of fans didn't realise that this was happening behind the scenes. I didn't know this was happening.
I didn't know he was injured. I just thought he was dropped because he was featuring towards kind of the end of Bruce's tenure. He did play him a couple of times, so it's interesting that. I think it would be a shame if we let him go, because I think there is a player there. I mean, you look at the likes of the teams who were after him. Jurgen Klopp doesn't pick bad players to go for. And if the rumours are to believe, Liverpool were in from the season beforehand. So, I think Jamal Lewis needs to be trained, and he wasn't getting that. And I think maybe he could get this under Eddie Howe, but he could still go out on loan. We could still maybe keep him on the books from that side. But it depends on who we bring in. Like there's a strong kind of feeling around everyone that we should be bringing in Matty Targett, and then we'll have Dummett, and then even Manquillo can cover that side as well if needs be. So yeah, I think if Dummett gets a squad place, then Lewis is off.
I think the problem with you have, Scott, I think you, like most Newcastle United fans, similar to me, you're looking at right now at Newcastle of old, Newcastle United that we're used to. And you'd be thinking, we'll send Lewis out on loan, see how he performs for a season out on loan, then we'll bring him back. I don't think that's going to happen going forward, Laura. I think it's now a case where we'll get a replacement.
We'll get new players, yeah. I kind of think the Dummett thing was more, and I feel like I'm contradicting myself, because I know a few episodes ago I said we need to be ruthless and we need to stop being sentimental. But I do think the Dummett thing's more sentimental, therefore Lewis can then just move on, in my opinion. Whereas the Dummett thing, I'm quite
having
happy.
Dummett around the squad when the new players are coming in, I think that will be great for what's going to happen going forward. I really do. But I think with the likes of Jamal Lewis, I think he'll be gone. If a bid comes in, he'll be gone. If a bid doesn't come in, he'll go out on loan, and we'll cut our losses eventually with the likes of Jamal Lewis. And there'll be more players along the lines. I think Matty Longstaff will be another casualty of this one. I really do. I don't think Matty has a future at the football club. If you look at the likes of Elliot Anderson, who's currently out on loan, what he's doing,
Yeah.
That could be the future in regards to bringing younger players through the ranks. That could be it. But I think the likes of Matty's time's gone. I think Jamal Lewis is gone. But like what Scott said, ask me this a year ago, 6 months ago, I'm probably going to say they'll probably be around in the future. Let's see what happens next season. But the current situation we'll find ourselves in, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, we need to be looking forward now, don't we? So I think it's
looking forward. So let's give Paul Dunn an extension.
It could just be to show them around the city, like show the new players around the city.
Stack's gone now. Paul Dunne's got nothing else to see.
I went to say Stack and I realised
The gate's closed as well, so there's nowhere to go.
Of course he does.
Laura, where do you think Paul Dummett is going to drink now?
I don't know.
Harry's bar. I could imagine him in Harry's bar.
Oh, I drink in Harry's bar. I hope so.
For God's sake. You also drinking the Black Gorda?
Just when I'm out with certain people, not like a regular.
Is there anything else that you two would like to mention tonight before we wrap this one up? You're just shocked that we've only been going for 45 minutes and not an hour and a half. Oh, the Man City game.
Aye.
Let's talk about the Man City game.
Have you done a match preview this
week? We haven't done a match preview, no. There's no match preview this week, so we'll cover it for the next 5-10 minutes. Man City, they're going to be upset. Could they be emotionally drained coming up against Newcastle at the weekend, Scott?
There could be. They could be physically drained as well, but Man City could change that entire squad and still have a pretty decent side against her on the weekend. It's going to be impossible to call in terms of what Man City turns up. I think we're going to probably see them with the bit between their teeth because they're like, right, all we've got left now is the league. We've got to win this. And I think Pep is that type of manager who's like, we're going for this, and if we don't get this, like that's it. Like he could be on his way if Man City don't win anything because of the way their owners are and the way they're demanding, success. I do think though, Man City are the sort of team that don't play well when they're pressed. And the way we press at the minute, I think we could actually get to them, and they'll flap at the back. And it looks like Kyle Walker went off injured the other night, so he's probably a doubt. John Stones is out as well at the minute, so their back four isn't as strong as it could be. It's still very strong, and don't get us wrong, I'm not taking anything for granted, but we've seen it in the past where we've gotten a result from City away from home, and it's even if we just get a point from them, I'm quietly confident. And I think after watching reading the comments from Eddie Howe's press the other day, Callum Wilson could be back. That's going to be a big boost, not only for the players but the fans that are going there. I know that ground can be empty at times in terms of home fans, so if we can get a good presence and get a good singing voice going on, we could turn that into a hostile atmosphere ourselves, and maybe get that City team to be like, oh, we've just lost, we've just been knocked out of the Champions League. There's a lot of pressure on me here. Where are our fans? We don't have anything coming out of the way, and then the team's going to press on them. I think it's going to be a tough one, but I think we could possibly get something from it.
Okay, we'll come to your prediction very soon, mate. Laura, what's your thoughts for Sunday? So Sunday, it's a 4:30 kickoff. Do you think we're going to this similar how to a lot of the fans went into the Liverpool game thinking we could probably grab something here?
No.
Oh.
I sorry. I completely, I'm the opposite to Scott. I tweeted straight away after they got that defeat in the manner that they got that defeat. I just think, oh God, I wish we weren't playing them next. Like you said, it's all they've got to play for now. Even if they do rotate the team and it's a completely different 11, it's still a very, very strong 11. And it is all they have to go for. They have to win. And I would not like to be playing a Man City team that have to win.
Yeah, they can't slip up now.
No.
Do you think either Trippier or Wilson would appear?
I was shocked that Wilson was ahead of Trippier. I thought it was the other way around. But so when I seen that today, I was shocked. Will he start? No, he'll not start.
I don't think you'll see anyone start.
No, I don't. He'll not get 90 minutes.
I don't know. I think will he keep him? I don't know.
Is there a reason to bring them in?
No, because we don't need to. We don't need anything. It seems. I seen a tweet the other day. Would you the way that, not so much Trippier, but the way Wilson gets injured, like, would you risk that?
It's a risk not worth taking for me.
Yeah, couple of games, nothing to play for. We're safe. It's fine. Just keep him fit for the start of next season, and even that would be a lift for the first game of the season. Wilson's back. Like, I don't.
Just shout there from Dan White and Laura.
And I was just, that was what I was going to come on to say about, I don't know if Howe would think like that, but the way I think is, don't play him away, give him his first start when I'm there.
Like, when I'm there, all about Laura, isn't it? All about Laura.
when the home fans are there.
When I'm there, give away a prediction, Laura. Scoreline.
I hope it's a bit like Liverpool, but not as bland. Like, the game's not as bland. I hope it's just not a humiliation like Spurs, and I hope we'll actually like give them a game. So I'm gonna say 2-1 City.
Okay, Scott.
That was actually going to be my prediction as well. I was going to say 2-1 to City. I do think we'll give them a really good game, and I think we possibly could get something from them. But it'll either be a draw or we'll be 2-1. But I'll go with 2-1. I think it's. But I think for Wilson, I think he will get some time. I don't think Eddie Howe would have mentioned it if he's not, and I think Wilson wants to play, and I think that's the other thing that you've got to remember is you can rest him, that's fine, but if he's ready to go, like, he'll want match sharpness is something you can only get playing competitive matches, and he'll be lacking that in abundance. So, you know, he'll want to get on the pitch and he'll want to get playing, even if maybe we don't.
He's got a big bet with Antonio on his podcast as well, and I think it's either 2 or 3 goals behind him. And he wants to win, so he'll definitely want to play before the end of the season. Absolutely. Not that Howe's going to play him just because of a bet like that. I didn't mean that.
We also noticed with the training photos, Trippier had this. I don't know if you noticed his foot. He had a massive bunion on the end of his foot, so he's obviously still strapped up a little bit on his shoe there, on his kicking foot. I think Bestie put that in the WhatsApp group, and
I couldn't say it. I didn't know what it was.
On his football shoe. He's strapped
football shoe, aye.
I'm going to go the opposite years, and I think we'll get absolutely battered.
I thought you were going to say win.
No, I can't see it happening. No. I think these 2 games back to back, it's horrible. Liverpool and Man City, they're both fighting for the Premier League. It's so close at the minute as well, so both of them got a point to prove. And I think they'll get at least 3. And I don't think we'll get on the score sheet. Yeah. And I really don't.
Mine was more hopeful, to be honest, than what I really think.
I think the fans, as always, Newcastle United fans, especially away from home, they're going to be loud. They're going to be encouraging the team. Whether we're 1-0 down, 1-0 up, we're 10-0 down, it's going to be the same volume throughout. I just can't say. I think Man City will come out now with a point to prove.
Yeah, I can't say in the space of 4 or 5 days, Man City throwing away the Champions League and the title. Like, I just can't say that, like, crumbling from them, to be honest.
Right, so that's us done tonight. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, I've loved it, and I haven't missed any goals either.
Jackpot.
And I didn't look at the screen once because I know you shouted us for that.
You did once. You did. Aye, you did. I always think you've got a window there and you're just looking at people walking past your window or something.
No,
That's what I think you're doing.
It's a cul-de-sac. No one walks past.
It's a what?
Cul-de-sac.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, thanks, guys. I've enjoyed this one. It's good having a chat with other people rather than telling Mark to shut up every 10 minutes and trying to talk over the top of Mark and Decker arguing with each other.
Decker's opinion on the maximum thing would have been interesting.
So, yeah, it would have been. Saint-Maximin can't do any harm and can't do anything bad or anything negative in Decker's eyes. So it's a pretty good thing that the Decker is on here, because Decker's not on the fence with Saint. We know which side of the fence Decker is on. But I think everybody else is probably one side. Well, probably pro Saint or on the fence. I don't think anyone's negative against Saint. I haven't seen many people that are negative about Saint, but I've turned it into the Saint show again. This happens all the time because I know it winds Mark and Decker up. So this is why I do it, and you two are in agreement with me. So I don't know why I'm doing it.
But he doesn't help himself by doing these interviews. But in your defence, Chris, we couldn't really have spoke about anything else. It's been all over. So
True. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks everybody who has been watching tonight. If you do want to like the video, it means a lot to us. You can just click on that button. Do that. If you want to subscribe, subscribe to the channel. Helps us out. I think, Scott, I don't even know. We're around about 7,500 at the minute.
It's 8,500, isn't it?
Is it 8.5? There we go. Just got an extra 1,000. So 8.5 at the moment. If you want to become a member as well, you can do so. It's as little as $2.99 a month. Helps us out massively. You can see tonight all in HD as well, and you'll see that in the studio when we do a Monday podcast as well, the match previews, match reactions, and so on. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your night. It's Friday night. Go and enjoy yourselves. Weekend coming up. You've got a day of rest before Newcastle United versus Man City. And watch what you're all doing. See you later.
Bye, everyone.